feel like it gets earlier and earlier every year, but I double checked. We are literally 365 days from when we started last year. 29th of August, 2022. 12 months roll around. It's here once again. For everybody to get on the hoe train. Also, it's the start of our award season coverage, which, dear Lord, having to get my chart up and look at like the dates of this ceremony, I mean, it gets confusing enough when now the Emmys might sway our influences in terms of the TV categories when they show up in the various things. But we'll get into more of that later. Hello, I am Ashley, your host for all the shenanigans. As we start this award season coverage, technically, is this the 10th?
Oh, I guess it would be.
Or would it be the... It was 10 years to the day, yeah, because the first one would have been 2013 into 14, so... No, we're starting on the 11th. So yeah, joining us as ever for the Cavalcade of Madness is AJ.
Yeah, I guess it's gonna be a really sloppy season. It sounds like, since we don't know what's gonna get pushed.
Yeah.
We're just all kind of in the wind at the moment, so this should be fun.
And also making his return to the prediction stage, it's Owen.
Hey everyone. For the foreseeable future, I will be the disembodied head, formerly known as Sir Owen Disney. But I'm here because it is Oscar time, and it's time to get down to business.
I mean, the strike is messing a shit ton of things up. Passengers moves, Dune moves. What's Cohen's one? I'm trying to think.
Oh, Drive Away Dolls.
Yeah, Drive Away Dolls is now March.
Oh, that sucks. I didn't know that.
Or at least it's March in the UK, but that would mean it would be ineligible for BAFTAs, so...
Oh, that trailer looks great.
So I don't know what's happening there. And then, whether anything else gets pushed, we'll have to wait and see. I mean, the tasty stuff is actually coming up tomorrow when we find out what's showing up at Telluride.
Ashley.
Mm-hmm.
Confirmation, Drive Away Dolls has been moved to February 23rd.
Right, so... Okay. That's it. Well, because I saw it delayed on the UK listings, I was like, okay, I guess that isn't good. And then also, what the hell is it called? I'm trying to look. Poor Things got shifted from like early September, and I was like, oh god, what's happened? And then it was like, it's now coming out like 8th of December, and I'm like, it's still eligible. It's still in.
I say my heart, when you brought up Poor Things, my heart kind of sank because I was like, what happened? It's like, oh yeah, because that was a little while back now, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. It got
good.
It got delayed, and I'm like, because I was thinking, if everything else has got delayed, this probably got delayed, and then it's like, no, it got delayed into the spots that was vacated by the other ones. Yes.
Hey, that's
because the Dune push was very recent, and I'm really afraid that Dune is going to be like remember when COVID hit and No Time to Die pushed its date, and everybody was like, "Oh, that's premature," and then No Time to Die ended up starting a domino effect. I'm kind of afraid that's what Dune's push is going to do.
Yeah.
So
I mean, to be fair though, a lot of Warner Brothers stuff seems to be in trouble anyway. Aquaman 2, although
And
it's
then it's,
Color Purple, I think. I haven't heard anything about that yet, whether that's locking to this year or not.
It's fine as of right now.
yeah, if it's not any, the only stuff that we're securely predicting right now is the stuff that's already out. Everything else, I feel like we have no idea for sure.
Yeah, right now, unless something changes in the span of the show, Color Purple is set for Christmas Day.
It says a lot that now I'm having to keep an eye on like Variety and all these things, and it's like delayed. Like, sort of.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Did we have these delays when the original writer's strike happened? Well, original. There's been loads of them, but I'm saying the last prominent one, which was 07, 08. I can't remember.
I don't remember the schedule getting too out of hand back then. But that's also a vague memory.
Yeah. Way back in the far off times. The first question from chat's sort of already been answered because Bry says obviously the big elephant in the room, but on a scale of 1 to 10, AJ, how upset are you that Dune did get pushed?
It's. I mean, we can. I mean, yeah, we can say 10. It sucks. It doesn't just suck because it's gonna be like 5 more months before seeing it, but also its Oscar prospects for next year are gonna be really, that's a pretty uphill climb.
Yeah. Then again, we have seen March Madness before. You can call it that.
Yeah. It was the combination, like it really sucked because I just desperately want the movie, but it was also that sinking feeling of, oh God, what's next? And is this going to be a continuous thing for the rest of the year? Was another. So it was kind of all a combined feeling of dread.
Yeah. Cassie says hi to everybody. Sammy's back in. Saying hello, friends and humans. I'm predicting Naiad for everything. I'm excited for the creator. I don't know what to think about that.
It looks interesting.
Yeah.
I feel like, weirdly enough, Ashley, I think that you'll understand this because you've seen the trailer. The creator is how I'm supposed to feel about Dune, but don't.
I mean, sort of. If anything, it's. I mean, considering that the MacGuffin is a kid, I'm trying to
Right.
think of like other films where it's like the whole mission is the hero's got to save the kid from being killed.
Now, just the aesthetic, it makes me feel like that's the movie that I'm
Oh yeah,
supposed that everybody else thinks
it's
about
sort of
Dune that I
like,
don't.
I don't know, Witness or whatever, but meets
Mm.
sort of Dune or Blade Runner,
Mm-hmm.
or I don't know, to some extent like well, with the sort of post-apocalyptic, I guess it's more Elysium
Yeah,
than Mad
I can see that.
Max, because it doesn't seem like a Mad Max style. It's more of a sort of fantasy Dune style Blomkamp thing, rather than Gran Turismo.
Hey, you don't badmouth Gran Turismo.
I do, because I play the games and I know the
I
true
dug that
story.
movie. Hey, I watched it in Dolby, and until you watch that movie in Dolby, that doesn't have the same effect. It's like watching Ford versus Ferrari all over again.
Him killing that guy's in the stand is a completely different timeline to how it all happened.
Well, of course it is. It's a movie.
Hell, the Le Mans win happened before everything else in the film. That was like his earliest film, and it's gone mid ever since. Sammy also says I'm excited for Saltburn and Priscilla. Zone of Interest and Anatomy of a Fall look cool. Which, yeah, it does seem to be that Anatomy of a Fall is the All Quiet on the Western Front, Parasite, insert foreign film here that gets a lot of interest.
It does. It's hard to say because it feels like anymore it could go either way with the Palm winner. Because there was a long stretch where the Palm winner wouldn't do anything at the Oscars, and now it's like, did Parasite kind of break that wall down? And now it's kind of been ever since then that it could go one way or the other.
Yeah. Sammy also says, AJ, you excited that Blunt has a nomination chance?
We'll talk about that. I don't want to get my hopes up or anything.
See, real quick, Sammy, since you're new, let me introduce you to AJ's curse. He does not want to jinx movies that he loves or performances that he loves, because it seems like when he goes all in on something, it doesn't end well for that movie or performance.
I am the reason The King's Speech beat The Social Network, and I am still convinced of this.
That is 100% correct.
Because when The Social Network was winning everything, I was like, is this movie really that great? And then just as I started to fall head over heels in love with The Social Network is when The King's Speech started taking over.
I mean, I tried to get you to like the movie that Unjustified won last year, but you couldn't do it, so sorry. I tried. I did the best I could.
I like Everything Everywhere All at Once a lot. I just wasn't passionate about it. Outside of Kwan's performance.
It's okay. There was enough marks in the world that were, so it's okay.
Sammy also says that animation seems more stacked than usual. Sammy cheering for the Ninja Turtles film. I loved the Turtles. Good. The Turtles was fun.
It was good. I very much enjoyed it. I love my theatrical experience too.
I mean, yeah, considering everything that's already out and is still to come out, and on top of that, you've got, Miyazaki, who shouldn't really be sort of rejected. I'm hearing a lot of big things about the first Slam Dunk, especially because it's a G-Kids. There might be a list of 10 that it's going to be like tough to get down to 5.
Yeah, and because of the fact that they finally realized, hey, we don't need to stream everything anymore, I might actually have a chance to see most of these at theater this time around.
Oh, that was the big news today that I noticed. Was it Killers of the Flower Moon?
Wow.
October 8th, limited release is no more. Because it's just going to go wide on October 20th.
That's fine. I'm down with that.
They're ditching the limited release. They're just going to bung it out there for the 2 weeks and then stick it on Apple.
I just can't wait to get
is threatening us with a 4.5 hour cut of Napoleon.
Oh, God.
Sammy asks, thoughts on Poor Things? Defoe could provide a makeup challenger to Maestro. I would say, from the makeup that I've seen in the trailer, Defoe's favorite. It's just a nose. But apparently that's enough for Maestro.
I don't know what this is since I don't watch trailers, but this is reminding me why I don't watch trailers.
Yeah.
Because I'm getting so hyped. I was hyped enough that Willem Dafoe's in a Yorgos Lanthimos movie, but now that you're telling me he's covered in makeup, I really want to know what this is going to be like.
He is, but you can definitely tell it's him.
Yeah.
We'll talk more about him later.
Imagine Green Goblin's mask, but real. It's that sort of like, you can tell it's Defoe, but at the same time, it's a Yorgos Lanthimos thing. It's gonna look creepy. The closest I can think up is what was the bloody the character that Defoe is playing watched the Crimes of the Future way too many times.
Oh dear God.
That's all I'm saying.
Ooh.
I don't like remakes of musicals like Colour Purple and West Side Story. New material, please. Well, to be fair, I understand the West Side Story thing, because that is a remake of a musical. Colour Purple is an adaptation of the musical that is based off the original film, from what I can tell.
We should get our first trailer soon, I would think.
The Holdovers reminds me of Green Book, and that concerns me.
That trailer looks great.
That trailer is very 70s.
I love
that's
it.
a good thing or a bad thing.
Yeah, it reminds me of like a television series in the 70s.
The way it just has Paul Giamatti's face, like, for the 10 seconds, just on freeze frame with the title and all the credits on it. Just like,
The only thing
the Holdover.
The only thing missing from that, Ashley, is it's at the bottom it says a film by Wes Anderson.
Well, we'll see what happens with Henry Sugar.
Cool. That needs a theatrical release somehow.
That's a good
at least for a day.
Well, they're doing a semi-limited release for Almodovar's, what was it, Another Piece of Heaven? The not Brokeback film in a month or so, which I probably won't get to see because it's not in anywhere near me. And then the ones that are sort of near me, some are like, nah, you want to pay 20 quid? And I'm like, no.
Hey, it's weird this year with the fact that me and AJ completely flipped when it comes to watching movies theatrically now. It's like a lot of the stuff that I would put on some of my best movies of the year is stuff I probably wouldn't have even paid any mind to before.
And Bride has mentioned, although they haven't pushed anything yet, Disney's still keeping with Wish on its November release.
I think Wish will stay.
Yeah. So with chat having made their opening statements and whatever, in terms of the basic stuff for State of the Race, we do know that the shortlist for the Oscars are coming December 21st, with nominations January 23rd and the Oscars themselves on March 10th. In terms of, it's really getting annoying. The Spirits is possibly happening oh god. So we're getting SAG, the Spirits, and the PGAs within 24 hours of each other. With Spirit happening the same day as PGA and SAG the day before. And then in terms of the way this is all starting, the revamped Golden Globes is January 7th, and the Critics' Choice is following that on the 14th. And then we get a chance to breathe for a bit before, I think BAFTA's like February 18th. None of the others have really sort of confirmed anything yet. And then, as I previously mentioned, we have the added sort of little tidbit, however you want to call it, about being moved to either late January or early February, I think, from its September release. So all of a sudden the Emmys could, rather than being sort of outliers and not line up with what the Globes or the Critics' Choice or whatever they say, or SAG, there could be a lot of sort of something steamrollering there, which would be interesting. So, hang on, I realise. To the description. Press enter a couple of times and say predictions start, if I can type correctly, at 2050. I press save. That takes a few seconds to do it, and now we're at 2050. So let's begin. The Big Eight. In case you're new to this, we only do the Big Eight predictions in the run-up to the end of the year, until we then have to lock in the definitive 23 categories. And then the fun rolls from there. So for now, it's just the 4 acting categories, your director and picture, and your 2 writing for adapted and original. So with that, as we traditionally do in the order, AJ, lead us off with original. Hang on.
Yeah.
Adapted.
No,
I'm trying to get my chart so I can verify this. Yeah, adapted.
And also, if you're new here, my internet is a massive pile of dog shit. So just let me know if I have to repeat myself at any point. It's really funny that a common complaint with movies these days is that there's nothing original. Everything is a rehash. Because for the past several years, this has been a pretty barren category. So there's like, I have the 5, and then there's like a 1 possibility, and that's pretty much all I was looking at. So for adapted, I have Barbie, Killers of the Flower Moon, Oppenheimer, Poor Things, and The Zone of Interest. Those are all adapted, right? Have we determined this?
That's the thing. I'm seeing a lot of people putting Barbie in original.
See, I'm not the only one.
I think because they're all pretty much almost every character is a pre-existing character. That's definitely going to be
that's the gray area.
But I think it's definitely going to be adapted based on that alone.
Yeah, I mean, I have it in original, but I am willing to flip and flop where needed.
The only other one I considered kind of was The Killer, but you'll notice that Fincher movies seem to really struggle to get into screenplay categories. I think the only 2 Fincher movies with screenplay nominations are The Social Network, which won, and Benjamin Button. Is that it? Because I know Mank was in the running, Gone Girl was in the running. Gone Girl really underperformed, and with how much it got, I feel like Dragon Tattoo could have easily gotten into adapted, and it didn't. So based on Fincher's track record in the screenplay categories, I didn't go for The Killer, so I ended up with those 5.
I'm trying to double check on the Fincher filmography, because alliteration. That doesn't help. It just gives me a list of films. It doesn't tell me what awards that they were in. Damn it.
I'm pretty positive it's only The Social Network and Benjamin Button, which is kind of crazy.
I have to specifically go to awards and nominations. Great job. Yeah. Wow. In terms of Academy Awards, he's been nominated for director, but not for writing. I'm guessing the other films that he worked on weren't his scripts, because obviously Social Network is a Sorkin script. So.
I don't know. I can't think of a time he has been credited as a writer, actually.
Yeah, come to think.
Unless he was he on Mank, or was that just his dad? I think it was just his dad, actually.
Yeah, Mank was credited as Jack Fincher only. Yeah. And then
So that's my 5 for adapted.
The Killer's Andrew Kelly Walker. So, continuing on from the alphabetical order, it's me. So for my 5, I have The Killer, Killers of the Flower Moon, Oppenheimer, Poor Things, and The Zone of Interest. Basically because it's Fincher, Scorsese, Nolan, Lanthimos, and Glazer. It's sort of, I don't really want to mess with them too much, at least for the time being. having now seen the teaser trailer for The Killer, it seems very intriguing. I was trying to work out from the way the trailer was whether it feels like a Sorkin script, because there was a lot of dialogue in 80 something seconds. Might even be 70 something seconds, to be fair. Which is probably the opposite for Killers of the Flower Moon, because that's like 3.5 hours. Oppenheimer was very well put together. And Zone of Interest is something that might move out if people feel that badly against it for some reason. But I'll stick with these 5 for now. Again, it's tough because it's like, if Barbie goes in here, what gets ousted out, and at the same time, what isn't going to come out? It's that teething problem, which is exacerbated more so because of the strikes.
Not to mention that Nolan's campaigning for an adapted screenplay nomination started very early when everybody was talking about the fact that it's written in first person. I feel like that was such a big part of the marketing, was he wrote the script in first person. It's actually like Oppenheimer's talking to himself, and I could see that going a long way here.
Yeah. He wrote 180 pages for 180 minutes. Who reads at a page a minute? Aaron Sorkin's like, give me seconds. Owen, your 5.
First, as I always do, chat.
Oh yeah.
The predictions of Brian and Sammy. Brian has adapted as Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret, Barbie, Killers of the Flower Moon, Oppenheimer, and Origin. Sammy has Barbie, Killers, Naiad, Blackberry, How to Blow Up a Pipeline. One of the ones I didn't mention that I gave a lot of consideration to was Next Goal Wins. It's something I think may do well, but it's something I may think that may get lost in the shuffle, even though the trailer looks great. But that doesn't mean anything, because obviously we've been burned by trailers before. I wish Sammy didn't bring it up, because I would have been the first one to say it, but it's okay. I am very happy that great minds think alike, Sammy. I also have Blackberry as my 5th nomination, going with Poor Things, Killers of the Flower Moon, Oppenheimer, and Barbie. Never once considered anything else.
I would love to see Blackberry get some love for sure.
It absolutely deserves it.
I'm pessimistic, but
yeah, I'm gonna go with it, because honestly, I would in a just world, Blackberry would get in the picture, but that's not gonna happen. So I feel a screenplay nomination along with maybe something else here and there might be able to give it some visibility on Oscar Sunday.
So, we move on there to original. First to AJ.
All right, I've got to reiterate a point that I brought up in the last Q&A, actually, because something may have influenced some choices that I made. We were asked how we think the strikes and stuff are going to affect award season, about like postponement and rescheduling and all that. But I had said that another thing I'd been thinking about as far as the strikes impacting the ceremony is that A24 really made the headlines by meeting the demands and keeping production rolling. And I had said, because so much of the Academy is actors and writers, is that massive chunk of the Academy going to vote for who took care of them when nobody else was, studio-wise? Which made me feel like A24 is going to do really good this season. So basically, I made a lot of bets on A24. as of now.
Eek.
So, because of that, I have Anatomy of a Fall, The Holdovers, The Iron Claw, Past Lives, and Saltburn. I looked up The Iron Claw. I'm going to assume we're under the impression it's original.
Yeah, it's definitely original.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
so
not based on any book, at least that I'm aware of, about the Von Erichs.
and if say something like Next Goal Wins should underperform, which I don't have it for anything because honestly I kind of forgot about it. That could be like I mean, I don't know how much of a sports movie specifically the Iron Claw is going to be, but it could be in that place. And plus it's A24, so that's me betting. And the fact that they gave it like a late December release, I feel like they're taking it really seriously. Something I considered was Air, but I feel like Air is going to be forgotten if it hasn't been already for the most part. And Asteroid City, I was really thinking about, but it seems like the Academy's love for Wes Anderson kind of peaked at Grand Budapest, so it's going to take him probably undeniable to come back. If I had to guess, I would love to see Asteroid City here, but it just seems like they're kind of taking a break with Anderson, so that's the 5 I ended up with, and why. And Saltburn being the Emerald Fennell thing, hopefully the talent she showed with the massive talent she showed with Promising Young Woman is going to carry over in her career, and she can make a streak in this category.
There are some rumours that might be one of the world premieres at Telluride. But of course, with that festival, they don't announce it until the festival opens, which is tomorrow. Because they specifically for the London showing have only been saying it's like the gala premiere. They haven't been stressing world premiere, which makes me wonder whether Telluride is where we first get word of what's going on with it. What a crazy couple of weeks it's going to be with that and TIFF and Venice. So my 5. Yeah, as you already know, Barbie's in here, but you know, I'm willing to let it move and try and work out what I kick out from the other one. Maybe The Killer if I had to, but for now I'm going to keep Barbie in here. My others are Air, Anatomy of a Fall, May, December, and Saltburn. Past Lives was definitely a consideration. I've heard a lot of good things from people that have gone and seen it here. So that probably would get in if Barbie was to get moved out and whatever. But yeah, May, December seems very intriguing as a Todd Haynes script. And so this is I just really hope that this is just Emerald Fennell's to lose, to be fair. I'm intrigued what we get with Saltburn, so we'll see.
Yeah, and I actually had May December in here, and then I replaced it with, I think I replaced it with Saltburn actually. So yeah.
In the chat, and your 5.
Yeah, Sammy has Saltburn, Past Lives, 1001, and A Little Prayer.
And Air.
And Air. I couldn't see that because it was covered.
Yeah.
And Brian has Anatomy of a Fall, The Holdovers, May, December, Past Lives, and Saltburn. Brian's also saying one movie I did consider because of a rule it has, Joyland from Pakistan. Missed Best International last year, could pull a City of God route by its U.S. release date.
That'd be interesting.
So yeah, very similar to most. Combine the two, you kind of have my list as well. Best Original Screenplay, I have Saltburn, Air, The Holdovers, Asteroid City, and The Iron Claw. If I could put anything else in here that, judging by, spoiler alert, what could come up later, one of the things that I was already talked about when Ashley mentioned was May, December, and I think, weirdly enough, that's one of the ones I don't have it for. So I think Saltburn's going to be big. I am trying to hope with all my might that they don't forget about Air or Asteroid City because they both deserve to be here. Pain does really well here, and I hate A24 almost with every fiber of my being. However, I am very excited about a Von Erich movie coming out around Christmas time. With as meaty of parts those are going to be, I can honestly see that that screenplay has got a very good chance this year.
So, the scripts and into the camera. Starting off with supporting actress.
All right, guys.
Here we go.
Here's the deal. Okay? So, let's go back to 2018. When Blunt had Mary Poppins Returns and A Quiet Place and was doing very well with both of those. It looked like if she was going to get in, it was going to be most likely for Mary Poppins, but she did snag SAG for A Quiet Place, which her holding her SAG award at the podium is still the desktop on my computer right now. So, so I'm very pleased about that. But like I was saying, I never predicted her throughout the entirety of 2018 because I didn't want to jinx it. And she still got snubbed both times. So, if it makes no difference, then fuck it. So, I'll say her. I will say Emily Blunt for Oppenheimer, Viola Davis for Air, Taraji P. Henson for The Color Purple, Julianne Moore for May December, and Devon Joy Randolph for The Holdovers. As far as Viola Davis goes, like I said, I feel like Air will probably be mostly forgotten, but she was constantly singled out as a standout in Air, and also that snub for the Woman King did not go quietly into the night.
No,
So, if they want to make up for that, this would absolutely be the way to do that. And that last scene alone should solidify it for her anyway. But we'll see what happens. I feel like the movie's way off the radar now, so we'll see. But the Color Purple women are interesting because we have Taraji here, who has the Margaret Avery part, and we also have Danielle Brooks, who has Oprah's part, who also has a lot of buzz here also. And both Avery and Oprah got in '85. So they could just repeat that, but I went with I feel like Taraji might have the Oprah part's really meaty, but Taraji also kind of has this veteran status to her, and this sort of, I know she's been doing TV stuff, but as far as movies go, I feel like she's needed a big part again because she's so insanely talented, and I feel like she's kind of been off the radar for a while, at least as far as movies go. So she can make a huge impression here. Julianne Moore for May December. Not only does it sound like a meaty part, but the combination of Julianne Moore and Todd Haynes has just "fuck yes" written all over it after Safe and Far From Heaven. I'm so fucking excited to see them together again. And Devon Joy Randolph her name's kind of, I feel like, been around. She made a huge impression with Dolomite Is My Name a few years ago. And plus, with a Pain script, give an actress like her a Pain script, I feel like there's probably going to be magic in there somewhere. So that's the 5 I have, with Danielle Brooks for The Color Purple, like, kind of right here on the outside. So that's what I have there.
Relatively similar. Oh, good.
No, what do you got, Ashley?
No, I'm being called for dinner. So I have Blunt for Oppenheimer, Lily Gladstone for Killers of the Flower Moon, because I don't know whether it will be considered leading. Taraji P. Henson for Color Purple, Rosamund Pike for Saltburn, and Divine Joy Randolph for The Holdovers. But yeah, Moore was in contention here. I'm already thinking of trying to put 2 Color Purples in because I'm wondering if that's going to be the 2 nominations in one category. But yeah, the one I'm unsure about is whether Gladstone's going to be considered supporting, and basically DiCaprio is just leading. and nobody else
Yeah,
is
I meant
allowed
to
to be.
I meant to mention this before I started this category, but yeah, there is I'm not shunning Gladstone. There's a reason I didn't put her here. She'll be here.
We'll get to the leading question.
And yeah,
Owen,
I was really thinking about what was that?
no, you AJ and then you Owen, because I'm gonna get my dinner.
Yeah, I was also really thinking about Pike, but once I got onto those five, I felt secure enough for now. So yeah.
Yeah, you're not the only one that went the route of Lily Gladstone, but we'll get there when we get there. I have seen leading and supporting. By the trailer alone, there is cause for either option, and I'll go all in on either one. So, Brian says supporting actress Danielle Brooks, Lily Gladstone, Julianne Moore, Rosamund Pike, and Divine Joy Randolph. Sammy says America Ferrara for Barbie, Danielle Brooks, Emily Blunt, Isabella Rossellini for LaChimer, and Jodie Foster for Naiad. Brian says Benjamin Button is still Taraji's only Oscar nomination, and Brooks was also nominated for the Tony for The Color Purple. So,
Oh damn, I didn't know that.
yeah. It's funny, again, one of the last cuts I had of this list was America Ferrara, actually, because I had her for Dumb Money. Because I feel the love that she's getting for Barbie would get her a nomination in something like Dumb Money versus Barbie overall. Because I think Dumb Money is going to be something that people are not going to forget. We'll get there, don't worry. But I cut her at the last minute because I think it made more sense for the aforementioned Taraji P. Henson for The Color Purple. Joining the list I've had pretty much since the second I started this, Julianne Moore for May December, Viola Davis for Air, Divine Joy Randolph for The Holdovers, and Emily Blunt for Oppenheimer. So yes, AJ, I feel like we have the same exact list. You seem to think that it's possible that Air may get kind of forgotten a bit. And I think we're both on the same page of Viola Davis, if anything, is not going to let that happen. Air will get representation at the Oscars, whether nomination or win, and Viola Davis is definitely going to bring the charge there for sure.
If her snub for the Woman King wasn't so high profile, I may not have gone with her. But to back that performance by itself up with that, I feel like could make something happen. But it's also, there's so many possibilities in this category. It's like for the past few years now, supporting actress has been the category that's very hard to get into.
Yeah, that's another thing too. It's like also like the category switching back and forth. Once we find out if somebody's campaigning in a different category, we got to switch things up a bit. Like Lily Gladstone comes to mind immediately, but because a lot of places I'm seeing is supporting actress, but by the trailer alone, for me, she seems like she's leading. But again,
I literally
get to it.
I literally saw a headline out of Cannes that said Leonardo DiCaprio and Lily Gladstone lead Martin Scorsese's Western. And that was a review. That was somebody who had seen the movie.
Kenneth Lee says regardless if she's leading, I think they'll campaign her in supporting because she'll be more likely to win. The Oscars haven't really strayed from categories actors are campaigned in unless you're Lakeith Stanfield, much to everyone's confusion, including his.
Yeah.
Actually,
Or that Lakeith Stanfield's Instagram post after he got nominated is maybe the best reaction to an Oscar nomination ever. But you know who else I was thinking about though for a more recent example was Michelle Williams last year.
Yeah.
Who still went leading when she could have easily gone supporting, and in a stat category managed to get in still.
Yep.
That was wild.
We go to supporting actor.
This one was kind of tough because there's somebody I'm not completely sold on that seems to be a front runner for a lot of other people. But before we get into specifics, the five I went with are De Niro for Killers of the Flower Moon, Downey for Oppenheimer, Ryan Gosling for Barbie, John McGraw for Past Lives, and Jeremy Allen White for The Iron Claw. It was really hard to take out Coleman Domingo for The Color Purple because not only do I think he's going to crush that part, it still baffles me to this day that Danny Glover got snubbed for it in '85. That's insane to me, especially with how many nominations that movie got. It absolutely tears my heart apart that Glenn Howerton isn't getting more push. Because Glenn Howerton should be towards the top of this list. Like,
yeah.
I know a few of these are still unseen for me, but I still say with certainty that Glenn Howerton's going to be one of my favorite supporting performances by the end of the year.
Yes.
The person, honestly, I was having trouble selling myself on was Gosling. Because when I saw Barbie the other night, finally, after a month, it was odd to me. It's got so much Oscar consideration. It like if Barbie had like no buzz behind it and I just watched it, I don't think it would have crossed my mind at all for above the line categories except maybe screenplay. But Gosling's just getting so much push, and his basically his performance is becoming iconic already. So I basically had to force myself to put Gosling in the place of Coleman Domingo. But the other reason I took Coleman Domingo out is that I almost made another decision, but it didn't feel right when I did, because Coleman Domingo obviously is not only in consideration for The Color Purple. So, and I'm hoping with every fiber of my being that Downey has got this. Though I feel like Jeremy Allen White is probably gonna. Obviously, Jeremy Allen White's already become a revelation by way of The Bear, but I feel like with The Iron Claw, he could become a revelation in movies very quickly too. And De Niro playing a despicable character for Scorsese again. I can't fucking wait for that. And yeah, and John McGraw just kind of feels like he's been on the indie scene enough that it feels like this is where he would slip in for, especially since I'm putting a lot of bets on Past Lives. That just kind of it makes sense to me. So there's a lot going on. It feels like there's a lot and little going on in this category at the same time. So yeah.
For my five, I have Willem Dafoe for Poor Things, Downey Jr. for Oppenheimer, Ryan Gosling for Barbie, Glenn Howerton for Blackberry, and Jeremy Allen White for Iron Claw. I just feel like I need to put Dafoe in here because I feel by default anytime he shows up in a film, you have to put him in at least one list. So we'll find out what people think at Venice in a week.
That's not, like 4 years later. That stuff for The Lighthouse still hurts.
Yeah. Downey is sort of. It's what Downey's. A lot have said it's been what he's been looking for, so he doesn't have just the image of being Iron Man. It's him going back to his sort of darker days, because he was a questionable character in Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, to be fair.
What Downey did in Oppenheimer was literally the best possible choice for his career at this time. There could not have been a better career move to make than what Downey did in Oppenheimer.
Yeah. Maybe he doesn't need to be the lead. If he can get a lot of supporting gigs, this is sorted. So, Downey Jr. for the next PTA film when? Thank you. There you go.
Holy fuck. Yes, please.
And I'm so excited for October when Blackberry gets over here. I just hope it gets a semi-wide release and it gets to me rather than I don't even know what's supposed to be out at that point in my cinemas. I'm fearing the worst. I'll look it up while I to Owen. Um, and for the chat as well as his own 5.
Yeah, so Sammy's choice for supporting actor: Gosling, RDJ, Magaro, De Niro, and Farrell. Yeah, I could see that. Brian says De Niro, Downey, Gosling, Magaro, and Charles Melton. Melton was one of the ones I was thinking about. I didn't go with it. Honestly, my last bump out in this point, same thing as before. Everybody knows how much of a love-hate relationship I have with Willem Dafoe. Almost put him in my lineup. Missed it by that much. And the tradition continues, Brian says. DiCaprio getting nominated for Best Actor, someone else gets in for Supporting Actor. Fair, Jesse Plemons does have a shot here.
That's annoying.
I didn't go with him either, but you never know.
Mm-hmm.
Downey has a great narrative, which helps him, says Kenneth Lee. Brian, Kenneth is saying to you, even Alan Alda for doing nothing in The Aviator.
Yeah. I love that Alan Alda is an Oscar nominee, but yeah, that's accurate.
Best Supporting Actor, yeah, just a mixture of both, like always. And I'll say right now, we're all in different places in every way possible. So needless to say, we don't have access to each other's predictions, and it seems like we kind of like overlap a lot because that's kind of what's out there right now. That's how the minds work. Best Supporting Actor for me: Ryan Gosling for Barbie, Robert Downey Jr. for Oppenheimer, Robert De Niro for Killers of the Flower Moon, Glenn Howerton for Blackberry, and Jeremy Allen White for The Iron Claw. I love Blackberry. It's one of my favorite movies of the year, and I will not apologize for this. I have a feeling all 5 of these movies, by the time I see them, are going to be some of my favorites of the year. Killers of the Flower Moon, there is no way it's going to fail. And a movie about the Von Erichs that actually has Oscar contention. The only thing that's putting me away from it is the fact that it's A24. But I will say that Jeremy Allen White playing Kevin Von Erich, take a shot, Carrie Von Erich, for all the things that Carrie Von Erich goes through in his life, AJ, if you look into it, it's probably going to be the most depressing thing you've seen on cinema in quite a while.
That's what I've heard.
Oh, it's bad. It's the story of the Von Erichs is legendary for wrestling, and honestly, I feel that, weirdly enough, the Iron Claw may be what the wrestler should have been. It may actually get the awards contention that the wrestler should have had, but it didn't have overall. And that's where Jeremy Allen White comes in, because he could be the Mickey Rourke. And I'm always going to go for Blackberry. I love that movie. Ashley, you will dig it when you finally get to see it.
Oh, considering it's Matt Johnson and how much of a fan, just I can watch the Update Day skit from Nirvana, the band, the show that they did, which is just putting Nintendo game lyrics to the Wii Shops song back when that was running. Enough of alone.
Laugh out loud hilarious. Some of my biggest laughs I had in a cinema this year were from Blackberry, and some of the wonderful dialogue in that movie. Downey's untouchable. I really don't see anybody beating him at this point, and that's justified 100%. And I feel that the Academy kind of has a love-hate relationship with Ryan Gosling, but Barbie's such a juggernaut in every way possible. I feel it's going to happen.
It's this year's Top Gun.
Yeah.
As in the breakout hit of the summer.
It's Warner Brothers' biggest release as of this week, I believe, officially, like of all time.
Mm-hmm.
With Oppenheimer being one of the biggest R-rated releases of all time.
And
just to hype up Blackberry a little more for Ashley, as far as my love for Howerton's performance and how much I hate that I can't predict him, I've been describing Glenn Howerton's performance as if Justin Timberlake in The Social Network was in an Armando Iannucci movie.
I mean,
And it's
considering the way of comedy from Matt and whatever, that fits. That fits.
oh
Here's the tough one: Best Actress.
well, I'm gonna say two things now. Um, Number one, I said that first. I'm kind of not feeling. I'm putting bets on Barbie, but I'm not feeling Barbie being a juggernaut come nominations day. So that on top of everything else, actress for me is snubs galore. Just
Snubsville.
so based on that, because I literally had things in here that I thought were certain, and then I took them out. So that happened. So um, for leading, I have Lily Gladstone for Kills of the Flower Moon, Sandra Hüller for Anatomy of a Fall, Greta Lee for Past Lives, Natalie Portman for May December, and Emma Stone for Poor Things. That means I don't have Robbie. That means I don't have Fantasia Barrino. That means I don't have Carey Mulligan for Maestro. This category, especially if Gladstone does come in here, it's going to be actually Gladstone coming here. I think is what's really shaking it up and making it a mess. The person I have the least confidence in here, I guess, is Portman, but she's playing an actress in a Todd Haynes movie, so that seems meaty enough. Greta Lee, I feel like, is in a really good place. Huller and Gladstone, I feel like, are in a good place. Emma Stone, to my understanding, seems like she's going in a way different direction than she has before, and just the reuniting with Lanthimos is really promising. It's a fucking packed category. And like I said, the only reason I don't have Robbie here is because I don't feel like Barbie is going to be the juggernaut people think it is because Barbie's kind of still in its moment right now. But we'll see what else happens when these other things come out. Fantasia Barrino, I would have thought I would have had in here solidly, and then when I made the Gladstone move, a lot of things got fucked up. But I don't want to move. I don't want to move Gladstone because I feel like that's going to be the thing. So at least right now, I feel like that's going to be the thing. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, this category is kind of a fucking mess. But we love the unpredictability at the end of the day.
I mean, you put a lot of good names that I left out. I have Annette Bening for Naiad, Vanessa Kirby for Napoleon, Carey Mulligan for Maestro, Margot Robbie for Barbie, and Emma Stone for Poor Things. I think this is probably the most likely way that Margot's getting an Oscar, unless it really tries and gets traction in picture and whatever. Because I think of what she does with the script is very well done, and it does make you wonder what the script would have been in Diablo Cody's world. Emma Stone, just like she's going all Daniel Day-Lewis. She's like doing weird shit, and I like it. I am intrigued as well whether Kirby should be lead actress, considering how it even says in the trailer, you're nothing without me. Which, considering all you hear about Josephine, that might make sense.
I'm holding off on Napoleon right now because Napoleon's one of those movies that Napoleon could be great or Napoleon could be a fucking disaster. And I'm gonna hold out to see which one happens before I say anything about Napoleon.
No, that's the only nod I've given it, at least acting wise. And yeah, with Annette Bening, there's enough sort of goodwill with that, and it's a good enough story of the sort of the swimmer in her older years and whatever, doing what she did. I'm happy with those 5 at the minute, but ask me in 20 minutes, I'll give you another 10. Over to you, Owen, for the chat and your 5.
Yeah, so Brian says Fantasia Barrino going to be the second American Idol artist to get an acting Oscar nomination. Annette Bening, Greta Lee, Carey Mulligan, and Natalie Portman. Sammy asks why I hate A24. You know, I just don't dig their films, Sammy. I just don't. There's a couple of exceptions, don't get me wrong, but 9 times out of 10, if it's a movie's A24, I'm not necessarily going to dig it like everybody else does.
I'm trying to remember whether you dug Midsummer.
Didn't see it.
Wow. That's the only one. That was the first one I vividly remember seeing at the cinemas. That was an A24. There probably was like a few ones like years before. I mean, Hereditary probably was A24.
Didn't see it either.
But I didn't catch that.
Well, like
to catch that on
stuff like The Witch and Moonlight were predate those.
Oh God, yeah, I saw those in the cinema.
You've got The Witch, you've got Moonlight, you've got. I didn't mind Talk to Me. It was fine.
You like the Ty West movies?
I do like the Ty West movies a lot, actually.
I was trying to work out. Right, I haven't heard anything about it. When's Pearl coming out? And it said March 2023, and I'm like, no, it didn't. And no, it's actually just on Amazon. There's like the bastards.
I liked Marcel. Marcel was fun.
Oh, that was A24 as well. Christ.
But yeah, but like a lot of like the ones that everybody marks out for, like the really popular ones, I don't dig at all. But I mean, that's just like everybody's has different opinions on film. I guess that's what it is. Brian says, don't have Sandra Huller in here because there might be some members of the acting branch might not know who she is, kind of like Renee Reinsev did not get in here 2 years ago because of how good the physical performance. Go ahead, AJ.
You can also say about that about Yulisa Aparicio. Nobody knew who she was either.
Because of how much physical the performance could be this good. The white best actress career win like Julianne Moore and Renee Zellweger last decade. Okay. Sure. Jessica Lange is another person I considered, but there's no release date for Long Day's Journey into Night because it feels like a career win.
You don't need career wins when you have 2 Oscars already.
Best actress is all over the place for me. Again, second verse, same as the first. When it comes down to it, it's basically most of Ashley and AJ's predictions rolled into one. I have Margot Robbie for Barbie. I have Emma Stone for Poor Things, Lily Gladstone for Killers of the Flower Moon, Carey Mulligan for Maestro, and Natalie Portman for May December. Yeah. I really don't have a need to elaborate about this.
I didn't even realize Priscilla was an A24 as well. That's coming up in a couple of months.
And because of how much physical the performance could be, this could be the what? Stop it. We'll get there. Ashley, you can read it because I've read it twice now.
I'm gonna have to refresh chat because chat is not loading properly. So while I'm waiting for that to load up, I'm trying to think. I mean, it does say a lot though that once again, actress is possibly becoming the bloodbath that it's been in recent years, and that how do we crop it down to 5? Okay. Because of how much physical the performance it could be the white best actress career win for Annette Bening. What's the white it's the white best actress bit that I don't get, Bri. That's the only thing that I'm like, huh? So,
Best actor.
Yeah, on to
Well,
best actor. So who's joining DiCaprio and Murphy?
well, here's the thing. For some reason that I can't quite explain, I wasn't feeling DiCaprio.
Ooh.
And the last time I said I'm not really feeling DiCaprio was Don't Look Up. And as hard as BAFTA tried to make that happen, it didn't happen. So with just going on this gut feeling, I'm going to go ahead and leave DiCaprio out again.
Okay.
Because honestly, these other five are the only ones that really were in my contention after taking DiCaprio, deciding that I was going to not put DiCaprio in. So that left me with Bradley Cooper for Maestro, Coleman Domingo for Rustin, Paul Giamatti for The Holdovers, Barry Keoghan for Saltburn, and Cillian Murphy for Oppenheimer. I have Maestro severely underperforming as of now, but I feel like that's still safe at the moment. Obviously, are we calling Murphy the frontrunner right now?
I would see no reason why not.
Probably because it's the only one out.
Well, that and Matt Damon saying it's one of the best performances he's ever seen, and Matt Damon has worked with just about every heavyweight you can think of.
Then again, he was in the film, so that's partly biased. But then Murphy's in what, 80% of the film? I would say. It's only those glimpses of like the Senate committee stuff where there's no sign of Oppenheimer.
Yeah, there's very little movie without him.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Considering the name of the film makes sense.
Yeah, and the fact that I have Coleman Domingo here, what played a big part in why I took him out of supporting for The Color Purple. Barry Keoghan's really on a tear right now, so yeah, I wasn't completely confident with him, but for now, I'm okay with it. I feel him more than I feel DiCaprio, and then Giamatti reuniting with Payne. That's another wrong from the past we have to right. So.
My five are DiCaprio for Killers of the Flower Moon, Coleman Domingo for Rustin, Michael Fassbender for The Killer. It's probably biased because I've just seen the trailer. Anthony Hopkins for One Life, because let's see him steal somebody else's Oscar win again. Namely Cillian Murphy for Oppenheimer. I don't want to put too much Saltburn in stuff because I haven't seen a trailer. Reputation-wise, it should be good, but I don't until I actually see something where I get a gist of I like this or I don't like this. I don't want to commit too much, which is why I've only sort of gone for Pike in the acting categories. I also noticed how British that is, and that probably is bias. I don't know. I mean, if Barry Keoghan had gone in, it would have been even more British. But that's what I'm sticking with at the minute. Once we get at least past award season, I feel more confident on at least some of these. Past TIFF, Venice, Telluride season, the next couple of weeks. September, I might be a bit more happy.
That would be greatly appreciated in all aspects. And you can look into that as much as you'd like. Brian says, just because of how much swimming she will have in Naiad, this could be a Annette Bening's award to lose. There you go. Actor lineup for Brian is Cooper, DiCaprio, Domingo, Giamatti, and Murphy. Brian says, so AJ, you're basically having DiCaprio being like De Niro missing actor for The Irishman.
That's probably a fair comparison, yeah.
Very interesting that Cinderella Man is Giamatti's only Oscar nomination.
Yeah.
Got screwed out of Sideways. I'll always say that. Probably the closest thing he could have got in for would have been Saving Mr. Banks, but I'm not sure. Once again, Sideways.
Well, I think Sideways is already implied here.
Yes, of course. I think the trend of this makeup transformation can get Bradley Cooper his Oscar in this category. We'll get there. Like Chastain and Fraser for the past 2 years. Well, I had a Hail Mary shot for Best Actor, and I backed away from it because that's done me oh so well in the past. Just seeing the trailer itself, I actually want to put some stake in dumb money. And I was going to go all in on Paul Dano here, not just for bias reasons, but the fact that I feel it could stick out like a sore thumb in the entire lineup that I'm seeing for actor so far. And I feel it would fit. But to also tie into something that connects to me personally, I completely forgot about another performance that I feel that belongs there instead. So he took the spot. So joining Leonardo DiCaprio for Killers of the Flower Moon, and Paul Giamatti for The Holdovers, and Barry Keoghan for Saltburn, and of course Cillian Murphy for Oppenheimer, I have Bradley Cooper for Maestro. Me plus Bradley Cooper in Oscar contention does not go well.
I was going to say, that was a lot of buildup for such an obvious choice.
It wasn't obvious to me until I paid attention.
I didn't want to say this because I cannot for the life of me remember where I heard it. But to my understanding, some of Bradley Cooper's peers have seen Maestro, and their response, now of course they're friends of his, but still, apparently the responses were like really overwhelming. Like, so Bradley Cooper's also got a lot of friends, but
now Coleman Domingo's nowhere to be found. Spoiler alert, Rustin's nowhere to be found. I could be wrong on that. I'm usually wrong on something big every year. Might as well. Adam Driver for Ferrari comes out too. Another performance I'm hearing a lot of great things about, but again, untested, so you never know where that might go.
I am about 99.9% convinced Ferrari is going to be one of the movies that gets pushed.
It's possible. I mean, I will say that if the movie didn't come out in the place that it is, Kingsley Benadir would be in this lineup for sure. Just by the trailer alone, him playing Bob Marley just like writes itself. And I think One Love would do well if it was in contention, but it's not. And weirdly enough, we're talking about A24 and we're talking about The Iron Claw. I mean, a lot of people aren't thinking about Zac Efron as Kevin Von Erich, which could be an outside chance if the movie does as well as it possibly could. So, yeah.
I'm still a little confused by how Leslie Odom Jr. got nominated for One Night in Miami over Kingsley Benadir. I feel like he was definitely one of the more standouts of that, but that was a few years ago. That's in the past, so whatever.
Hey, Mr. Top Hat. Hey there, hi there, ho there, crew. Long time no see, Gabriel. And we are moving away from acting into directing now.
You remember how I started actress and I said snubs galore because there's too many options?
You are not wrong on that.
Yep. Director is the same way. Director is wild. So naturally I've been saying, and I don't want it to sound like I'm biased against her, but when I was talking about, I don't feel like Barbie's going to be the juggernaut people think. There's so many other contenders. I didn't even have Gerwig in the running, honestly. But if you want to talk about, but they'll want a spot for female directors. I didn't even consider Emerald Fennell for Saltburn, but I still have 2 female directors in the 5. So female directors should do just fine this year if somebody doesn't completely drop the ball. So who I have as of now, which could easily change because this category is crazy, is Nolan for Oppenheimer, Payne for The Holdovers, Scorsese for Kills of the Flower Moon, Celine Song for Past Lives, and Justine Triet for Anatomy of a Fall. Somebody I was really struggling leaving out was Lanthimos, because you would think immediately, oh, Lanthimos is too weird for the Academy. The Academy fucking loves that dude. And which is great. Even fucking Dogtooth got into 4, remember that? And then his nomination for The Lobster and Screenplay, and then The Favorite just like getting, what was it, 10 nominations? He is not too weird for the Academy. They love him. So I really struggled keeping him out, because he's definitely a possibility whenever he's here. Jonathan Glazer was really close too, but I'm not sold yet on how Zone of Interest will hit. Kind of like what Ashley was talking about at the beginning. So I'm being very light on Zone of Interest right now and just putting it in adapted for the time being. But as far as Payne being in the place of, somebody like Gerwig, or maybe a bigger contender like Lanthimos or something, or a more consistent contender like Lanthimos, Payne hit a big speed bump with downsizing. But when Payne is on, they can't resist him. So I feel like if the Holdovers is pure Alexander Payne, it's gonna do really well. So Nolan and Scorsese, I feel like, speak for themselves, and Song, honestly, like I said, I'm really betting on Past Lives. So Song, I just kind of have like in the top 3 here, really. And then Triet, like we were talking about with Anatomy of a Fall, kind of being the triangle of sadness of the year. Yeah, only Anatomy of a Fall could actually get an acting nomination on top of the other big 3.
I also have 2 women. I have Emerald Fennell for Saltburn, Greta Gerwig for Barbie, just because it's Top Gun / Black Panther / Inception / whatever was big at the box office, because they're trying to appeal to the casuals. Along with Glazer for Zone of Interest, Nolan for Oppenheimer, and Scorsese for Killers of the Flower Moon. Again, there's another 5 that should be in there, and what I'm just going with at the minute. But I can see Holdovers. I can see Payne getting in for sure. Lanthimos could easily be in there as well. But that's what I'm committing to, at least at the minute. To the chat.
Gabriel says I have Cooper, DiCaprio, Domingo, Murphy, and Giamatti for actor. Brian says Gerwig, Scorsese, Nolan, Song, and Glazer. Brian says only put Gerwig in after Dune got pushed. Still did not have Denny in when that was announced. Would put Payne in if the Holdovers wins People's Choice at TIFF. And Top Hat says director has a wide open spot now Dune is out. Fennell, Glazer, Nolan, Scorsese, and Song. One name that wasn't mentioned by either of you is Todd Haynes.
Mm-hmm.
And he, again, just like anything has been previously, he was my last cut.
Yeah, because Haynes doesn't have a director nomination yet, does he?
No.
Which is interesting.
So yeah, I have a little bit of column A, a little column B, more to the Ashley lineup, but also a little bit of AJ lineup. Best director for me is Alexander Payne for The Holdovers, Greta Gerwig for Barbie, Nolan for Oppenheimer, Scorsese for Killers of the Flower Moon, and Emerald Fennell for Saltburn. There was 4 I was always going to pick, and then the 5th one was just like, well, that makes more sense. Also, Sammy, since you're new to the channel, if you haven't found out yet, I'm like a huge Greta Gerwig mark and have been since day one. So I will defend her pretty much for anything, as you watch any of the award season videos that we've done back and forth for the last several years. And the fact that she has a really good chance to get nominated again makes me very happy. And I think Payne is going to shock some people with this nomination. Best Picture.
Okay, have I cut out at all yet?
No.
It doesn't sound like it.
Wow. And Ash's microphone hasn't gone out yet either.
I guess why
And
I
everything-
purposely moved it, because, paranoid.
We're on the last category. On the last category, everything's about to go up in flames. Just watch. All right, so we're still under the impression there's a solidified 10, right? Until further notice.
Yeah.
Of course.
All right, in that case, I have, for varying reasons that have come up throughout the night, Anatomy of a Fall, Barbie, The Color Purple, The Holdovers, The Iron Claw, Killers of the Flower Moon, Oppenheimer, Past Lives, Poor Things, and Saltburn. If the Iron Claw is as big of a deal as I'm hoping it might be, I also wondered if Durkin could sneak into director, kind of the way Lenny Abrahamson did for Room. I don't know why I'm comparing those two. Room, by the way, another A24 movie.
Well, hey, I said I don't like A24. It's been clear, but I mean, there's a couple of exceptions for sure. Room's on that list too.
I completely forgot.
Of Under the Skin. I feel like if you add up everything I've said throughout this, I'm assuming it's clear why that's the 10 I would come to.
Yeah.
So I almost had Maestro, but like I said, I just kind of have it underperforming across the board outside of Cooper getting in. So I replaced it with, once again, I think I replaced it with Saltburn. Saltburn kind of came in really late for me, but it's here.
That's a good list. I feel more confident in your. For my 10, I have Barbie, Blackberry, The Holdovers, Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Oppenheimer, Napoleon, Poor Things, Saltburn, and The Zone of Interest. Again, it was just picking. Oppenheimer and Barbie are the only ones that are definitively in there because they've come out. And they're big and popular enough that I think that they will probably hold out until the end. But the rest of them, I wanted to put Blackberry in for picture because it will probably disappear from next month. But I want to acknowledge that I want it in I want it there.
It belongs there. Trust me.
I found it interesting that, what was it, Bottoms?
Yep.
Had a better per theatre average in its opening week than the film that must not be named because Owen Comes Out in Hives. Did 12 months, well, not even 12 months ago, for like 14 months ago, but per theatre average, it actually beat that one, which makes me wonder whether something's going to happen with that and whether that gets enough momentum on the indie scene. So that could easily come in here. I also wanted to put Napoleon in because I do feel this could be another House of Gucci last duel sort of. Yeah, it's a Ridley Scott film. It ain't gonna be bad, and then we forget I said that. So I wanna die on that hill as well. 4.5 hour cut, please.
Speaking of dying on the hill, we'll get to that in a minute. Brian says, although it won't happen, Miyazaki might get buzzed, but since The Boy and the Heron is the TIFF opener. Maybe. Brian says this is no one's award to lose unless Scorsese comes in once the movie officially comes out. Brian's picture lineup: Barbie, Color Purple, Holdovers, Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, May, December, Oppenheimer, Past Lives, Saltburn, and Zone of Interest. Brian says, don't have Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse for mainly two reasons. Number one, controversy behind the scenes of how toxic the work environment was, especially from Lord and Miller. And number two, I tried it last year with Del Toro's Pinocchio and failed. Fair.
Del Toro's Pinocchio would have deserved it, though, if it got in.
If it would have had a theatrical release, I would have been able to see it. Top Hat says Anatomy of the Fall. A Fall, take a shot, wrong movie. Barbie, Color Purple, Holdovers, Killers, Past Lives, Poor Things, Oppenheimer, Saltburn, and Spider-Man for now as a placeholder. I've seen Spider-Man come up with a lot people's predictions in picture. It's good. Yeah, it's good. It's fine. Speaking of dying on the hill, I have Hair, because I'm not going to give it up until I have to. Barbie, The Color Purple, The Holdovers, The Iron Claw, Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, May December, Oppenheimer, Saltburn. I looked at everything I had, and I was like, yeah, that makes sense. That makes more sense than that. That makes more sense than that. So that's the reason why it exists the way it does. I love Ashley's inclusion of Blackberry on here. I 100% support this. I want Asteroid City in this lineup. It deserves to be here. It should be here. It's not going to be here, which is a shame. Another one of the best movies of the year. And if you want to talk about an indie film, Ashley, that I wish would get some traction, hopefully when we get to like the Spirits and the Gotham, we'll get some love for Sanctuary. You know, the Margaret Qualley movie that actually did come out this year?
Yeah.
One of the best films of the year that almost no one I know saw. But yeah, I think that might be the end.
Yeah, everybody's done. Wait for some straggling comments if there's any coming in. So yeah, in terms of Top Hat has come in with an appropriate ending comment. You could say Owen's predictions are up in the air. Wagga 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 wagga.
Yeah.
The puns that came out of predicting during the season the movie Up in the Air was in were out of fucking control.
Yeah, they were.
If BlackBerry gets enough momentum, I'm just going to bring my Samsung phone that basically looks like a knockoff BlackBerry, and just every time I bring it up, just like, oh, BlackBerry. Yeah, Bryce says we'll see how the festivals go, because yeah, Venice starts tomorrow, I think, at the same time as Telluride, and then TIFF starts in like 2nd or 3rd of September. So it's a congested couple of weeks. So we'll see how that goes. So in terms of live stuff, we will be back on... Oh, that's what... Quick to my tablet. This is a beautiful thing. So live stuff. The Pop the Question Q&A session with myself and AJ will be September the...
I want to say it's the 4th, and I hope it's the 4th and 5th. That's what I have scheduled.
So the 5th is the 5th is that, yes. No, I don't want that. I want that.
It's the 4th and 5th, Ashley, because the 3rd is all out.
Yes. But that's why I'm double checking, because unknowingly, hang on, need to switch over to view rather than YouTube view so I can make sure people can see. Hang on, need to zoom in. This is the TV schedule for Sunday evening over here in the UK, right before the wrestling's due to be. And look what BBC One is showing.
Holy shit.
That's great.
So if
Wow.
if you're in the UK, you kind of have no excuse because it's going to be on iPlayer for 30 days afterwards for free. Yes. I say that because on the 4th, Monday the 4th at 6 p.m. Eastern, we will be discussing 2006's Children of Men with Clive Owen and Michael Caine, among others. Yeah, as soon as we talked about that, I think it was the day before because we had to delay it. Yeah, because we had to delay it to Tuesday because of your schedule, AJ. And the listings always come through sort of Wednesday, so to about 24 hours later, and I was like, "What the actual funk?" Yeah. My word. So yeah, that's. But between now and then, it's a lot of AJ content. Well, mine's still got to go up, so you'll get a deluge of that over the next 24 hours. But then,
same day, AJ content goes up as well.
AJ, pretty much constantly for the next 2 months. I'll be popping in with a couple of Isaac videos for sure, just to keep that going, and so I don't forget. So then it's like, right, I missed this September one, so I've got to do that in September 2024. I'm like, no, I'll probably forget by then. So I'm going to keep on that train and keep an eye on that. So you might get more than one video a day, but you're definitely getting a video a day now through to November time. In terms of everything else, you've got Owen's Sip and Snacks and Voices of Liberty on the archive. You've got my gaming content, my snack stashes, and all that. AJ's movie reviews and verses, which you're going to be getting a fair bit of the next couple of months. The next, we won't put a date, but keep an eye out on all the socials. Twitter X. That's what I have to do now. If you're new to this, that way. So yeah, it'll be tentatively around the week, the last week in September, in and about. In terms of the next one of these where we do our predictions. And then aside from that, on the socials, the Twitter X, you can find Owen at Sir Owen Disney. You can find the channel stuff at Popcast Network. You can find me at Ash is My Name UK. And AJ cannot be found on social media. Because just like Keith Richards, he cannot be killed by conventional weapons. Did I say I said weapon? Bloody Wii Update Day. Thanks, bloody Matt. Super Mario RPG. Damn it. I'll get copyright struck now. Damn it. So I think Owen, do you want to do the last line?
Yeah, that's fine. Hopefully, by the time we get to the end of September and we get back to our September predictions, maybe you'll see me again. I guess you're just going to have to wait and see, won't you? That's the show for tonight. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Thanks, everyone, for listening. Do yourself a favor. Go watch Roadhouse. Always look on the bright side of life. Remember that one of my first words ever was mama, light, and Bob Barker. And don't forget,
while you're watching Roadhouse, also check out Paradise Alley.
Yes, 100%. And always remember to follow the buzzards. Until next time, boys and girls. That's all we got to say about that.